Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to this card making project. In this project I thought we'd make a tone-on-tone card using Anna Griffin's Fretwork 2 dies, brand new and absolutely stunning. I'm going to start off with a card blank that's A5 in size, and that's how it looks on our cardometer to show you the size so you can get a perspective of it. A5 is A4 folded in half, so if you're going to make it from an A4 sheet, when you fold it in half, be sure to make sure you've got a good sharp score line at the top of the card, because that will enable your card to stand up nicely and it'll be a neater line on the actual fold. So that's our card base that we're going to use. This is ivory that we're working with today. Everything that I do use I'll put in the description box below so that you can get more details or maybe even purchase it from the link that I can include. So what I've done first is I've made an insert panel for our card, because I know a lot of you like to see the inserts as well. So for this I've used the Anna Griffin border stamps, and I've literally just stamped in the corners, all four corners, and then I've taken a fine line marker and I've joined up the corners. Now, just so that you know, it's I've used an Anna Griffin ink pad for rubber stamping for the corners and for the sentiment. However, my fine line pen is a different colour. However, I've tried to find one that matches, you know, near enough. And then that way it's very unforgiving. Sorry, it's very forgiving, not unforgiving. So that basically you can't really tell that they're not the same colour, and it makes just a really nice idea for your sentiment for something different. So what I've done is I've already added double-sided tape on the back of my insert, and I'm going to add that inside our card so that then that way the inside is finished. If you were wanting to make it as a folded insert, you would just literally cut an A4 piece of paper down to fit, and it would be a few millimetres shorter than your card, and then that way it will fold and fit nicely. But for us, we're going to make and add this insert panel. So that's my insert panel added to the card, and now we can do the front of the card. The first thing that I've done is I've cut a layer of cream paper that is just slightly smaller than our card base, and on it I've used one of the smaller fretwork dies from the set 2 from Anna, and I've used Anna's metallic card layers in the pearl to cut 4 of the dies, and then added them to the corners, and then I've quite simply added pearl dots to the top and the bottom, and then to the sides just 2, to give it a little bit more interest. And it was as simple as that. Now actually, looking at it, it looks as though I've spent a lot of time making that, but it was literally 4 die cuts and the pearl dots for the first layer. And just to save a little bit of time, I already attached them to the layer of ivory paper, and I'm just going to position that so it's roughly straight. So that's our first layer, and already that looks quite stunning. So the next layer that I've got is a piece of ivory card, and all I've done is added 3 pearl drops in all 4 of the corners, and then I've added 3D foam on the back of this, because each layer will have a little bit of height, and that will give it the 3D look and a little bit of depth when our card is finished. Because with it being tone on tone, we don't want to lose the layers between each layer, if you know what I mean. If we add a little bit of height between them, then you'll see more perspective on the card. So I'm literally just going to place this layer in the centre, and it covers up some of the fretwork die, but it does leave the corners on show, and that's what we're looking for. So I think we're just zooming in and zooming out a little bit, aren't we? So that's our next layer. Then we're going to use more of the fretwork dies. Now I've again used the pearl card from Anna Griffin from the metallic range, and I've used the other fretwork die, the smaller one as well again, and it's like a calligraphy die, you can see that, and I've die cut that one twice, and then the same die that we used for the corner, I've die cut that twice again. So what I'm going to do is, I've already got a little bit of glue that I've put on a piece of wax paper, and I'm going to just tap the edge of the fretwork die onto the glue, and I'm going to start by adding the two smaller ones at either side of the card on the short edge, like that, and then the two longer ones I'm going to position at the top of our card, and that will go there. Oops. Now there's numerous ways that you can add glue to the fretwork dies. I thought I'll use this method because in the centre we're not going to see where the glue is. It's going to be covered up with a sentiment, and sometimes I have a few issues with my glue, and I wanted something that was going to take hold pretty fast. So I decided to use, I've used my glossy accents for this. So let's just pop the second one at the other side, like that. Now if you've got any little bits that aren't sticking down, what you can do is, if you use your sticky dots, or you can always add a little bit of glue directly to the centre, however the sentiment is going to cover that. So the next thing I've got is the sentiment and a plain layer. So I didn't attach the two together because I wanted to show you how I've done the layer. Now I've already got a video that we've done for the pearl drops to show you how to add them to your card or your paper. So for that layer, that's what I've done. I've just gone around the edge with my pearl drops and added just a little bit of interest. And then I've used a sentiment from Anna's Vellum Well Said collection just on a piece of ivory card. And the one thing that I want to say, I want to give you a bit of a tip here. When you use the vellum stickers from Anna, they go down absolutely amazingly onto your card, but just burnish them a little bit with a bone folder just to get the evenness of the vellum across the sentiment. Just makes it a little bit neater, because if you're using them on a coloured card, then you might get a little bit of, because the vellum's a little bit misty, it might look a little bit patchy. But don't worry, if you burnish it, then it goes transparent with a little bit of a smoky look, as it were, and then it's just a lot smoother and a lot neater. So that's the sentiment, and what I'm going to do is, I've put 3D foam on the back of it, and I'm just going to peel this away, and I'm going to add this to the layer that we've made with the pearl drops around the edge. So just bear with me while I peel my 3D foam away. So that's going to be positioned in the centre of our dots, like that. And then this will go in the centre of our card over the fretwork dies that we've just added that are hanging off the edge. So let's just peel our tape away, and add this. So if we add this to the centre, and I think that looks roughly about there. So that's all our layers and our dies on. And the last thing I've got to add for our card is I've made a bow out of ivory satin, and I've added my own pearl embellishment. I put it on a glue dot, so I'm just going to position that on the top of our card. Actually, before I put it on, I had a lady say to me the other day, "Oh, you always put your bows on at the top." And I nearly thought, shall we put this to the side, because that would look a bit different. But I've got this thing about symmetrical, and for me, I'd like to place it at the top because that's just me. And I'm going to pop it just in the centre like that. And that, for me, finishes our card off absolutely perfectly. And that is such a pretty card, ideal for any anniversary. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this and it's given you an idea of how to use the new Fretwork 2 dies from Anna Griffin. If you've got any comments, anything that you'd like to share, anything that you'd like to say, please feel free to comment. If you have enjoyed this, please give me the thumbs up. I appreciate hearing from you, I appreciate your thoughts, and I appreciate you liking my videos. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again next time.